Austin here with The Real Seal, back again for another Shop Talk video to talk to you about everything you need to know about sump pump failure. Now here's a sump pump we recently replaced. We have a few components here that I'd like to go over and just show you what can go wrong with the sump pump, how to spot it, and how to fix it. The first reason your sump pump might fail is a power failure. Maybe your power in the house went out, or maybe the cord to the pump went bad. It's much more likely in a power failure that something happened with the power or the outlet than it is the cord. These cords tend to be very sturdy and last a lot longer than some of the other moving components. Getting on to one of the moving components, we've got our float switch here. As the water level rises, it raises this switch, which then triggers this lever, which then hits a switch inside and turns the pump on. These switches can malfunction in a number of ways. They can get stuck in the on position. And when it's stuck in the on position, the pump's going to run and run and run until it burns out. You'll even see it smoking or maybe even heating up the water so much that it can boil inside the sump pit. Alternatively, a float switch could fail because it's not triggered. So even if the water rises the float switch up, this mechanism could be broken internally and cause the pump not to work. And of course, the float switch could get stuck. Let's say it gets pinched against the side. It's not moving anywhere, therefore it's not doing its job. The pump will get overwhelmed and it will fail. Float switches are easy fixes. You can buy a float switch yourself, or you can have a company come that does sump pump repair, and they can disconnect this float switch and put a new float switch right on the discharge line, and the electronics will just piggyback into this plug right here. So it can fit onto any sump pump out there that has a plug, which is all the sump pumps. So it's very good and very easy replacement if you have a float switch failure. Beyond that, the mechanism underneath could end up clogging or failing over time. The pump can fail from old age. If you have debris in the pit or it just has been running a long time, the fan inside and the mechanism, they're moving parts, they'll degrade, they can rust, and they'll stop moving. They'll get usually less efficient. The pump will get louder and then it will fail. So if you hear your pump getting louder, you may need to get that switched out. Same thing with the float switch. If your pump isn't operating on like a 7-second cycle, meaning when the float switch is activated, about 7 seconds later it's turned off, there's probably something wrong with your float switch. Moving on from that, we have improper maintenance. So yes, a sump pump does need maintenance. Luckily, it's not a whole lot. All you really need to do is pour enough water into your sump pit once a month to trigger the pump to go off. Pumps used too often will have the same effect of pumps not used often enough. Think of the battery in your car. If you don't start your car in 6 months, the battery is going to be bad, need recharging and restarting. Same here, only you can't just jump start a sump pump. If it fails because it hasn't been maintained properly, the entire unit will need to be replaced. Again, the same thing, you'll start to hear loud noises as those fans and gears start to crunch together a bit more. The pump will pump water out more slowly, and then eventually it'll outright fail. Another reason your sump pump can fail has nothing to do with the mechanics of the pump itself. It could just be overwhelmed. This is a 3rd horsepower sump pump. Let's say you have that in a very large basement, we get one of those huge rainstorms that we've been getting. Well, it could overwhelm this. This could not be enough. I mean, imagine this trying to pump out Lake Michigan. It's not going to do a dent. So in some cases, you may need to upgrade your sump pump or even add a second or a backup sump pump in order to keep up with all the water. Another reason that it could fail, not due to the mechanics, is a frozen discharge line. So this line is what pumps the water out and away from the home. It usually goes up through the ceiling somewhere, out the side of the house, and then at least 20 feet away from the house. If that discharge line is not installed properly, or if due to all best efforts, your yard turns into a lake and freezes and this line freezes up, no water is going to be able to push through here. And what will happen here, that water will be all the way at the top. The pump will be running because you'll have the float switch up. You'll even hear it buzzing, but nothing will change with the water level. This is just as bad as a stuck float switch. You need to make sure that you go clear that line out there. Sometimes tapping the line or opening it up and clearing it will help. And then replugging that sump pump in so that you can pump that water out. Another problem is product defect. I mean, every product that is ever made, they have defects sometimes. So sometimes you can get a pump that has a defect. The float switch doesn't work right. There's a mechanism in there that's not going right. There's something wrong with the electronics that keeps tripping the breaker. Anything can happen. And when you get a product defect, you'll see that almost immediately. So when they install the pump, the contractor that does it shouldn't know it immediately. You probably will never know because they'll just swap it out with another one and go return it for their warranty. If you're doing it yourself, when you install it, if it immediately doesn't work, that's most likely a product defect. And then finally, we get to installation problems. If the pump wasn't installed correctly at the beginning, there are problems that can develop over time. The first and most prominent one would be the bleeder hole. You actually have to drill an 1/8-inch hole at a 45-degree angle up within the first 6 to 12 inches of the bottom of the discharge line. The point of that is that it allows where the check valve is, between the check valve and the pump, that water to drain and not lock up. If it does, it can create something called an airlock, which weirdly enough will stop the pump from pumping any water. So if you look into your pit and your pump goes off and you see a little hole just spraying water out of the pipe against the side of the pit, you've got a good sump pump and someone installed it correctly. That bleeder hole will save you from a pump failure in a flooded basement. If you look into your pit and your sump pump goes off and no stream of water comes out of the side, your sump pump is installed incorrectly and is in danger of failing at any time. You should get someone in there who can install it properly and put that bleeder hole in so that that pump will operate. And that's it. I know that's it, but there's a lot of components that go in with sump pumps and what can cause them to fail and the things that you can see ahead of time so you know when a failure is about to happen. There are companies out there that will come repair sump pumps, but we like to recommend just replacing the sump pump altogether. It's not that expensive. When you replace it, it comes with a new warranty, and you should be getting a 5-year warranty on all your sump pumps at least. And it's the most important mechanism for your drain tile system to keep your basement dry. This is the linchpin that keeps your basement dry or allows it to flood. Make sure you have a good one with a good warranty installed by a reputable contractor. If you have any questions at all about sump pump repair, replacement, or the problems that can happen with them, including failure, give us a call over at The Real Seal, where you know not everything's better when wet.